city of mine. How I love the city of mine. It never gets me down.
Well, hey friends, welcome back. It's Lady Cinnamon. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for joining me today. And if you're new, you're so welcome and appreciate it. Well, it's already episode number 17 and it's fall, y'all, picking up where I left off last year, as I said earlier. And I'm going to be doing 2 cone trees and 1 topiary. For my topiary, I'm going to be sanding off this little decor sign from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to paint it out. This is not going to be the final color. I'm just doing this to cover up the pumpkin so it doesn't bleed through later. I'm going to be using this from the Dollar Tree. I removed the handle. I had this back from the spring, and that little pedestal that I previously saved from another DIY that I didn't use, and I'm just going to hot glue these together. This is going to form the pedestal base along with the other item that I had, and I'm just going to make sure that when I glue these together, that for this area that the hot glue does not run over. So it's just going to be just a little bit, not too much, because I want to keep it neat there. As you can see, very clean and neat. And this one, I don't care if it runs over. Because I want it to look like it's soldered down stone or pewter or something. That's the look I'm going to be going for, and I'm going to be using this pewter gray paint from Apple Barrel. I can leave that in the description bar below if you want to reproduce this nice fun craft. And I'm going to paint out the entire pedestal for my topiary. And yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. You might have to do 2 coats. As you can see, it's not perfectly painted because I'm going to go in and stiffle on some black and white to sort of with the sponge, by the way, and just to make it look like I said, it's stone or maybe pewter. Very simple process. You can use as little as or as a lot or as you want, rather. A little tongue tied there. And yeah, it's going to dry down. I know it looks a little crazy right now, but it's going to dry down pretty nice. If you just put too much, then you can just add a little bit more gray and it'll be just fine. I do want mine to be a little thicker in some areas, but I'll show you what it looks like once it dries down. And you just repeat that process of tapping everywhere and then adding in the white and the gray later. But this is what it looks like. It looks really nice. It does give the appearance of stone or pewter, and I love the way it looks. Now to assemble my topiary part of it, and I'm just going to be using a half of one of these foam balls from the Dollar Tree, putting some hot glue on it and putting it on the inside. That's all there is to it. I'm going to cut out a little piece of that in the middle because I'm going to be adding in this 3D reform that the Dollar Tree has. I love picking these up. When I see them, they usually have them in like early spring, and I try to get at least 3 or 4 of these because they have them in 2 different sizes and they're awesome. Now there is one thing, that little metal piece that you use to form it, it's sort of thin and it doesn't really hold it well. I like to tie mine together. I'm going to be using jute string for this DIY, so I just will be using jute string to tie it so it all looks pretty cohesive and just really give it a nice finished look, because I want this to sort of look high-end. Like this time of year I like to go and look for items in stores or boutiques, and that's what I want this to look like. So I went ahead, hot glued that down, added some of that deer moss at the base, and now I have some orange pitberry I picked up on sale at Hobby Lobby's, along with some Dollar Tree jute string. And I'm just going to just basically tie that on. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can even add a little hot glue if you want, as long as it's attached. And now I'm just going to wrap this around the reform, and I'm going to do this with each and every one of those reform spokes going all the way up to the top, and then I'll come back once that's done. And as you can see, it looks so pretty and I love the way it's looking right now. So now I'm just going to go ahead and add on some Dollar Tree items from like those actual pine cones are from leftover from last year from the Dollar General, but these other leaves are going to be from the Dollar Tree, and all of the picks will be from the Dollar Tree also, except for I think a couple of other leaves that I got from a pick from Hobby Lobby. So these, as you know, are from the Dollar Tree. I forget what that's called exactly, but I just cut those and added those into the foam along with these berries. And I think it's turning out looking really autumny and festive, and I love it. It just invokes a cozy autumn feel, and I wanted to do some traditional colors for my next DIYs. Now the Dollar Tree, this little acorn you see in those little tiny pine cones, the Dollar Tree has these potpourri packs. Guys, they smell amazing, and I'm just using those here and there, but they do smell great. See how cute those are? They're perfect for DIYs, and it makes it room smell amazing, like that cinnamony spicy smell. But did this not come out gorgeous, guys? It just says fall is here. It's just autumn. I just love the colors, those rust colors, little touches of orange and yellows, and all of those mixtures of colors that we all love so much about fall. And it's just gorgeous. And I think the acorns and the pine cones really bring everything together, and this looks beautiful. Guys, let me know in the comments what you think about this topiary. I just love it. So for my next DIY, I'm going to be making a cone tree. This one is going to be from Dollar Tree Leaves. And as you can see, I'm using the same cardstock that I used to paint that actual topiary I made. So, you know, I don't like to waste anything, guys. I'm just going to cut this even on the bottom so that way it does sit flat. And I'm going to trace around some foam board from the Dollar Tree. And once I cut that circle out, you'll see how I insert that. And that is to make the cone tree nice and sturdy so you don't have to worry about it collapsing or anything from adding on my leaves later. And you're just going to push it in. Try to make sure that it is really tight so that way it'll hold the cone's shape for when you start adding items or when you use it throughout the season. Now everybody loves these maple leaves from the Dollar Tree. I got a couple of packs of those, and I'm just going to go ahead and mix up the colors because I want to use all of the colors and make this really pretty and really vibrant. This is a great idea if you want to do it with children as a craft, and you don't have to use a hot glue. You can use a glue stick. And you can see I'm putting these the bottom down. The reason I'm doing this and overlapping them is to cover up the white cardstock that's being used. And I'm only going to do the first row this way. The other rows I will be turning the leaves the other way, the right side up, I guess you can call it, so that way you'll have that full effect that I'm going for with the tree, and I'll show you what I mean now. So now you can see I'm definitely overlapping them, making sure that the top of these are touching the bottom, but they're constantly being overlapped. But now you can see why I did that, so none of that white cone shows. And now this is the easy part. You're just going to add in your leaves randomly, however you want your colors. You can use maybe all the reds or all the oranges or something, all the yellows and greens. It's up to you. I just love these vibrant maple leaves that they have. They have these at the Dollar Tree every year, and they're perfect for crafts. They really are. And it's so affordable that you can do this for $2, literally. And yeah, just love it. So when you get to the very top of it, you're just going to overlap it onto the very top and then pinch it with hot glue or whatever adhesive you're using. And guys, it's really that simple. Is this not the cutest tree that you ever saw? It's so budget friendly, it doesn't make sense. The cardstock was $1. Well, actually, I didn't even pay for the cardstock because actually I reused it from the other project. So I just love the way it turned out, and you can style it however you want. I'm just giving you an example, but I think it's so cute. Now my last cone tree, I am going to be using the same type of technique to make my cone. I had some leftover burlap strips from last year. I'm just going to use this to wrap this cone. This one I'm going to give it a little bit more of a high-end look, where it will look like it's almost like real dried leaves, but it's really not. But they have this silk texture to them, and I think they're beautiful. This is from a pick from the Hobby Lobby. I've been nipping on that pick. Now these are the pumpkin scented pine cone potpourris that they have at the Dollar Tree. Guys, I'm going to use this, and I have to tell you, it smells so amazing. It has that spicy smell to it, and it has little pine cones, and it has little berries, and it smells so good, guys. I wish you could smell it. If you pick those up, you would love it for this year, and they're only $1. I'm thinking about going back and getting some more of those. But you can see now that I wrapped it with burlap, it doesn't matter if any of it sticks out a little bit because it will all be in the same family of colors, and I just love the way it's turning out. And I'm just going to add in all of these items randomly. There's no rhyme or reason to this. You really can't go wrong if you just place them. We're not overlapping these necessarily, but we're just putting them together like a puzzle, more or less. And the only thing I'm doing is tucking in these little tiny pine cones and berries to make it appear as if they're just growing out of these leaves. And that's it. That's all. Very simple. This went even quicker than the other one because these are flat, they're not overlapping, and it was just such a fun DIY. So I need to show you what it looks like when you get to the top again. All you're going to do is the same exact technique when you get to the very top, and that is you're just going to take your leaf, add a little bit of hot glue as you see me doing, and just wrap it around the top. And I will go back and finish the back of it. Guys, this came out so beautiful. Do you not love all of those beautiful, vibrant autumn colors? It just says autumn is here. It's time to get a throw and a nice hot cup of tea or cider and just get so cozy and just read a good book or burn a candle. It's just cozy to me. So I hope that you like all 3 of these DIYs. Leave me comments in below and let me know which one you like. I'm just curious, guys. In the meantime, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. They really help us out on our YouTube channels, and that's why we always say that. And if you do subscribe, don't forget to hit the bell twice so you are notified whenever I upload a new video. Well, guys, thanks for staying and watching to the end. You guys rock. You're awesome. I appreciate you, each and every one of you, so much. So I guess I will go ahead and end the video here. But in the meantime, I just wanted to say thank you all for watching. Bye.
City of mine, how I love the city of mine. It never gets me down.